Welcome to another episode of that Worship Guitar Show, brought to you by worshipguitarskills.com with me, Charl Coetzee, and the WGS team. You'll discover how to go from a frustrated to fluent worship guitarist without having to practice for hours on end or even spend thousands of dollars on new gear. We'll help you unleash your true potential so you can make the most of the gifts and talents you've been entrusted with, and finally grow into the amazing worship guitar player you've been destined to become. Welcome, and let's get started. Welcome everybody to another episode of that Worship Guitar Show. We are trying something different, which is doing these on Fridays, and I've got another announcement coming up about the show to let you guys know. But normally on Fridays is when we have our live streams for our members in the WGS Academy, and basically that is where I answer any questions, do some live teaching, and we just hang out with people all over the world in our program. So we do those on Fridays, and we thought it'd be good for us to alternate that Worship Guitar Show on the same day, just to kind of streamline things a little bit for us here in the studio. So let us know if you're watching a replay, if you're watching live with us. Let me just make a shift here quickly. If you are watching live with us, whether Fridays are good for you, it'd be good for us to know. And then the second change that I'd like to tell you guys about is the fact that for our members, because we have folks in Australia and in Europe and obviously in America as well, and Canada and South America, so it's kind of all over the world. We are here in South Africa with the time zones being spread up like 180 degrees above us right there. So what we do is every second Friday, we stream at a different time. So for example, today, our live stream for our members was at 11 a.m. South African time, which I believe is a 7 or 8 p.m. for the Australians, and it's obviously around about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock for our European friends, and it's quite early in the day for the Americans. In some places, it's like 5 or 6 a.m., which is a bit early, even though we have some members waking up early and joining us for those, which is awesome. But then the following week, we do it at 4 p.m. South African time, which is then much earlier in the day for the Americans, so that they can then join at a more suitable time. We are 7 right now with daylight savings. We're 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard, 9 hours ahead of Pacific, and 12 hours ahead of Hawaiian time. So what we're going to play around with is, if our members stream for our Academy members is in the morning, our time, 11, then we're going to do our Worship Guitar Show at this time, which is now 4 p.m. for us, depending on where you're at in America or Europe, whatever the case will be. And then the following week, we're shifting our members' time to this time. Then we'll do the live stream earlier in the day, which means that our Australian friends would also be able to join us live for that Worship Guitar Show, because normally we've always done this at the same time. So let me know in the comment section if the Fridays are good for you and how you feel about the time changes. It's, of course, nice to connect with you guys live, and we'll go ahead and welcome some folks in the chat shortly. And then, of course, we also have the replays that they are all available for you to watch after the show as well. So that's a little bit of housekeeping and some news in terms of that Worship Guitar show. And let me go ahead and see who we've got watching live here. So we've got Larry. He's actually one of our coaching members, saying good morning, friends. Beautiful sunny day in Grays Lake, Illinois. Welcome, Larry. Great to see you. We've got Donald, another member, saying listening in from North Carolina in the US as well. And then we've got Nicholas saying, hey, Charl, first time watching a live broadcast from Guyana, South America. That's awesome. In fact, one of our coaching members will be traveling to Guyana, Jeff, I believe. So, small world, right? He's from the US as well. We've got Serge Indrices saying, good morning from Vail, Colorado. Good morning. And we've got John, Sons of Thunder. John, another WGS Academy member, and he's saying the times are good. So then, wonderful. That's great news. And we've also got MTS Guitar saying, good morning from New York, USA. And then Jacobus, everyone welcome Jacobus in the comments. Jacobus is one of our team members, and he's celebrating a birthday today. So feel free to say and to wish Jacobus a very happy birthday, and praying a year of super cool blessings and favor ahead of him. So Jacobus and Kenan and Brad and Christy and Amy and Lisa Marie and Kelly, we're a big team here. You guys always see my face over here, but then we've got an awesome team working tirelessly, always behind the scenes, helping us ship all of the lessons to you guys. So wonderful. Welcome, welcome. And then Jamie from Vail, Colorado, just sometimes the YouTube channel names show up. So it's good to know. Jamie, I'll remember that. And then we've got, I can't pronounce that name because I can't read Korean, but another worship guitarist tuning in from south of Korea. Welcome. All right, I'm going to get tuned up, and then today we're going to be talking about playing lead. And we're going to specifically be talking about how to create some soul-stirring solos and lead lines on the electric guitar that'll speak to the Spirit during worship, which is perfect for those looking to enhance their worship guitar skills. And I'll go ahead and kind of talk you guys through that and to show you what I mean. And so that is what we're going to do. And then John is wishing Jacobus happy birthday there. Thank you so much for that. All right, so lead guitar is one of those things, regardless of what style you're playing, even if you're playing in a blues band, right, and you've got a vocalist in the blues band, you're going to be playing rhythm guitar for the majority of the time, and you know you only have a short time for a solo in a song, depending on the kind of songs you're playing. And it's kind of the same in worship guitar as well. When you play modern worship, because you're not going to be playing lead guitar the whole time, but there's something else that can happen on your guitar parts, whether it doesn't have to be specifically a solo, but there is some melodic side of things that you can bring to the forefront as it relates to singing on the guitar. And we do that quite often, just kind of grabbing a vocal melody, playing that on the guitar, and seeing what you can do to sing on the guitar. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's not necessarily playing a solo or something that's going to call attention to yourself in a worship set, but it's more just whatever the song is that's being played, supporting that melody. So many times we, and I can maybe pull this up for us right now, just going to get a pad going here in the key of A. So let's see if you guys can hear that. And I can go over here to our second cam so you can kind of see a close-up. And let me just move something around here a little bit. There we go. All right, cool. So I can, for example, take a song like Agnes Day, and then I can either play the melody, So you can do that kind of thing, or maybe you want to add some chords to that in this instance. So that's kind of what I mean by singing on the guitar. Or maybe you're doing... that kind of thing where you're just playing the melody from the song, but in a very vocal-like fashion. So it's not being played to try and call attention to the guitar and to play a big fat solo. You know, sometimes there's a time and a space for that. But I think when you learn to play guitar, whether you're just playing chords like I showed you earlier on, or whatever the case may be, and you can incorporate some kind of melody, the people in the congregation, they can latch onto something. And if it's a melody that's well played at the right time, that's carrying with it a certain set of emotion, then that can definitely draw somebody into the worship experience. And what I mean by that specifically is, think of some of your favorite preachers, for example, a pastor, evangelist, a preacher, whatever the case may be. And if you think of the different styles that some people have to convey the word of God, especially people who are doing it with authentic heart, sincerely sharing the word and preaching and teaching on the word, because they've got, number one, an incredible love for Jesus. Number two, they've received a revelation. The word has made a difference in their lives. They get it, and they want to then go ahead and share the good news. Ultimately, the Bible says the great commandment is to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And the gospel is the good news that he came to heal the sick and the brokenhearted and all of those awesome things. That is, if you truly grasp what Jesus has done for you, you're going to want to share that with somebody. And then when you share that, depending on what you're talking about, let's go back to our pastor example. If he's teaching on a specific topic, he's not going to deliver that super blandly, because then who's going to believe him? Because if it's something that has gripped your heart, if it is something that has changed your life, then the way in which you're going to communicate it has to change. It has to show that, wow, I've been transformed. This has spoken to me, and I'd love to share that with you. So there's going to be that sincerity, there's going to be that emotion, and there's going to be all of these things within the delivery of how that message is delivered. And then that helps because, people can actually then hear what's going on. There's some things that you just feel when a message is being sincere and when great truth is being shared. Now, for us as guitar players, we have the same thing that we can bring to the table, which is to just bring some sincerity as it relates to how we are playing our guitar and unlocking some kind of an emotion. Right now, the emotional part is very important, and a lot of people might discount that, but I'd like to invite you to consider King David in the Bible, and God says that King David is a man after my own heart. And if you go and read some of those Psalms, there's some gut-wrenching emotions in those Psalms, whether it's something from incredible joy to like some serious sadness and struggle and all that kind of stuff. But David was able to express those emotions, and through all of that, he pursued God and God's presence. So that means as guitar players, it's good for us to understand that emotion is not bad, because God made us emotional humans, right? Love, you can feel love. Love is also a verb and an action. But I want to encourage you to see how can you convey some of this stuff on the guitar so that your guitar playing can kind of come to life, and it's not just going through the motions. And I'm going to show a couple of things for you guys in a moment to show you how can you better sing on the guitar, bring some of that vocal quality to the forefront, number one. And then number two, how can you use the guitar to go from a gentle whisper to a mega roar with power chords and overdrive and all those kind of things. And of course, everything in between, and how you can use that for God's glory and to really facilitate a moment where people in the congregation is being drawn into the worship experience and then pointed to Jesus so that they can experience God in a mighty way. So if you have any questions in and around how to unlock some of that more vocal thing in your playing, or how to get a wider range of emotions on your playing, let me know. And then we're about to get tactical with a bunch of things. And if you have any questions anyway along the way, let me know and we can address those as well. And then Larry is saying, happy birthday, Jacobus. Blessings for many, many more. Thank you so much, Larry. And we've got Vicky saying, good morning from Lexington, Kentucky. Awesome. Welcome, Vicky. Great to have you with us today. All right. So let's look at the first thing, which is really articulation. And it kind of goes back to when I said maybe you're listening to a sermon, or maybe you share the good news with a friend or with a family member. The way in you, obviously, what are you going to say? You're going to say about John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son. You're gonna share the gospel in that regard, but the way that you're gonna phrase it is you're gonna say it like you mean it, you're gonna say it like you believe it, and you're gonna say it in a way that is right for that environment. So, for example, if you were to share the good news with somebody in a busy place, you're not going to shout at the top of your lungs because you want that conversation to kind of be just between those two people. Whereas, imagine how Jesus had to speak and kind of project his voice when he was talking to thousands of people and they were all around him. So then obviously in that case, you're not going to whisper. It's going to be, you're going to talk much louder. So on the guitar, we have that same thing. And I'm going to pull up a song here. All Hail King Jesus. And I'm just going to show you how I can go from a real gentle kind of a whisper on the guitar to something that is a lot more powerful and a bit more in your face in a good way, right? Because we are really proclaiming those kind of things. So if I go and look at All Hail King Jesus, let's go ahead and find the section where we have the pre-chorus, and I'm just going to circle back a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my second camera here, and then I'm going to show you, I'm going to do three things. Thing number one is I'm going to kind of I'm going to try and just have this gentle whisper on the guitar. Thing number two, I'm going to go pretty big, and I'm just going to go ahead and get some power chords to really bring some power. That's why they're called power chords. And then thing number three, I'm going to do something that brings in a little bit of energy, that that kind of brings energy and motion and emotion to the playing. And I'll just have to say this real quick. What is the one thing that the word talks about when it says, above all, guard your heart, for out of it flows everything, right? So you've got to guard your heart, and we don't use these devices that I'm showing you to manipulate. We are just using it to serve, right? So if the song is in a gentle moment, you want to, as a guitarist, be able to serve it in a gentle way. When the song needs, to go pedal to the metal, then you gotta be able to deliver, and we do that with the right heart attitude. We don't do it to manipulate people. We don't do it to say, look at my skills or whatever. We do it because we know that Jesus loves the lost and dying world. We do it because we want to create an environment that can draw people in and point them to God. That is the goal, and your heart needs to be in the right place. I just want to say that because there might be some folks out there that could potentially misconstrue or mishear what we are saying here and what our goal is. So, and we've got Jamie saying, that's good. Awesome. Thanks for the confirmation there. So let me go ahead and show you these three gears. Soft and gentle to big power chords to an energetic movement. Now I just have to find the right place in the song, so just bear with me for a second there. All right, so we're gonna do the softer kind of a gentle. Here we go. So there was a couple of just ideas there. I'm going to unpack those for you right now. There was actually, I started the song in the wrong place because I wanted to do the section before that. So let me just do that one little section as well, so you can just hear those parts in that regard in a little bit better in that section. And then what we're going to do is let's just go to the pre-chorus and just a little bit back here. All right, so let's listen to it over here. Now I'm going to do that soft, gentle whisper again to the big power chords to the energetic part.
For the earth began to shake, and the veil storm. What sacrifice was made as the heavens
Here's the energy part. All right, so that was basically me showing you those three different sections of the song right there. So when we played, and I see some questions there which I'll answer shortly. when I played the pre-chorus, right, I kind of swelled in like this. So just look at the amount of times that I'm actually picking my notes here. Let's check this out. That was one pick. Everything else was hammer-ons and pull-offs. And then 2 picks right there. And then for the final part, we had... Now, of course, when my hand was lifted up for me to show that I'm sounding notes without picking them, there was a bit of string noise there because I didn't have my hand in place for muting. But can you see that's pretty much like I'm whispering? All right, so when you want to play things like that, it's important to use volume swells. Because think if there's a choir. Imagine a massive choir. And even in Revelations, it says that, you know, the elders and the creatures and the angels in all eternity sing holy, holy, holy. So there's obviously a choir of voices. That is obviously on a different scale that our minds can't quite comprehend. But let's just think of an earthly choir in this instance. If they were to sing, they don't just, they typically kind of swell into the notes. They don't just come right out and shout a note. So those swells, when you do a volume, swells like that, it's kind of like how backing vocals would do oohs and ahs or a choir and so forth. So that's what I'm trying to emulate there. Something that's carrying the melodic movement, but I don't play it like this. See, that's too much. That attack is like kind of in your face. There are times when you want all that attack, but for a gentle moment like that, volume swells, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, and vibrato, those are your friends as it relates to articulation. Right? Then I look at the lyrics in that instance. So the lyrics say, "For the earth began to shake, and the veil was torn. What sacrifice was made as the heavens roared." So for this song, they kind of have that pre-chorus where it's starting to build into that chorus, which is going to be the main section there where the lyrics then go big. All hail King Jesus, all hail the Lord of heaven and earth. All hail King Jesus, all hail the Savior of the world. Now I want to ask you a question. If you're in a band that has to accompany the soundtrack to what happened there, just imagine what that would sound like. And of course, we only have our earthly reference as it relates to music and what we believe to be power and what is gentle, what is funny, what is epic, what is whatever, you know. So I'm just imagining if for that section, the lyrics go, all hail King Jesus, all hail the Lord of heaven and earth. Then that's what I'm going to do, because the chords for the first couple of bars is pretty much just E. So if I'm just going to give that big fat power chord, because now it's conveying what the lyrics is saying right there. And if the way that worship should be done, the lyrics that we sing, it should be theologically sound. It should be literally singing the word of God. Yes, you do get other songs that you can tell your own story or whatever the case may be, but for corporate worship, we need to sing theologically sound lyrics. And in this instance, it doesn't get any more theologically sound than that by singing all hail King Jesus, all hail the Lord of heaven and earth. So for that section, I feel like the emotion I want to bring to the forefront must be these big chords, because I'm like, you know, that is epic as it can get, and that's what I've got at my disposal, in my hands, you know, I've got those power chords. So then that's what I used, and then we went to the turnaround, before it went back into verse 3, which is where the full band went in. Then I played this. Then that brings some energy, because now we're excited about this truth that we've just vocally sang, that we've just proclaimed, that we've just declared. So we want to convey that excitement before we go into verse 3. And then when we got to the bridge section, let every knee come bow before the King of Kings, let every tongue confess that he is Lord. Lift up your shout, let us join with all of heaven, singing holy, cry out holy, singing holy. And then I played that same melody thing there again, where I played, actually that section goes... And there you can see I'm now actually picking all of the notes, because now the full band is busy building at that point, so it's no longer needing that soft, gentle whisper with the volume swells and the slides and the vibratos, hammer-ons, pull-offs. It needs now those notes to be picked. So there's just 4 examples of different ways in which I can do 2 things. 1, look at the lyrics. How do I best want to support that? Number 2, listen to what's going on dynamically with the band, and how do I best want to use the guitar to go from a soft whisper to a mighty roar, and everything in between. So I want to encourage you to experiment with that based on your skill set, based on what you've got available from a tonal perspective. But let me know if that makes sense in the comments, when it goes from a gentle whisper to a mighty roar and everything in between, and how you can go ahead and generate that on your guitar. Then I'll go ahead and answer some questions, so feel free to pop them in as well. So Nicholas is asking, Charl, question about switching from power chords to lead lines. Do you switch effects? Great question. For my particular tone that I'm using, I didn't switch any effects for that, because that tone is typically already very overdriven. So it's already a super big sound like that, which is my background and the tone that I like. Kind of, it's a big guitar sound like that. But of course, when I need to do the... If I need to do the gentle stuff, I can do that as well, because I just ease up on how hard I strike my strings, which means how hard the amp is going to be driven, which means how the sound is going to sound. So to your question, Nicholas, yes, the effects or the tone changes, but not because of the way I switch it, but because of the way that I approach my playing. So I might play softer. I might use, like I said, more articulation techniques to remove that attack. And therefore the sound and the tone will change, but it's because of the way that I'm playing it. So I might just play softer, even depending on where you strike the strings. If you strike it here at the back versus right over here, kind of, yeah, how it gets harsher and more in your face, depending on where you pick it, going more towards the bridge. So that's another way in which you can, like, we use our voices like that. When I talk to my kids, they are, this year they'll be turning 5, 8, and 10. And there's times when I have to, when I'm stern with them and they need to listen, then I might talk with a little bit more of a, declarative, authoritative voice, like when I need them to listen. But then there are other times when my voice totally changes the way I speak to them, depending on what we are saying. So we know how to use our voice to adapt try and learn how to do that on the guitar. And then Vicky is saying just that the controls are out of view. So yeah, let me just do those volume swells for you. Now you might hear a little scratch on my volume knob there. It's because there might be a bit of dust in it. I need to get that looked at. But so yes, that's what I do. I don't change my effects. But then there are other times if I wanted to, for example, go to something like this. And in that case, I'll definitely change my tone. Or if I want to play something more like this. Then I'll definitely change the tone from time to time. But in that example, Nicholas, that I just played, everything was just the same tone. And then Caster, a repeat viewer of us here, is asking, hey Charl, good to see you. By the way, are you doing streams now always on Friday? So Caster, what we are doing is we're going to be experimenting with running the streams on Fridays and changing up the time. So one Friday we'll start it at our normal time, which is 4 p.m. and then 3 to 1, 12, 11. The second Friday it'll be 5 hours earlier, just to give our friends in Australia and Australasia a chance to also join. So let me know how that time works for you. We are experimenting with it at the moment. We're hoping it works for everybody because then it'll be the same day as our academy coaching calls. So yeah, very keen to hear your thoughts. And then Vicky just saying thank you there for bringing those knobs into view. Yeah, we're going to be getting another camera soon, and then we'll be able to, we don't have to use the same camera to give us both views. So be on the lookout for that. Awesome. And then, yeah, we've got a question from Josh saying, I've heard having 2 delay pedals can help boost lead lines, add sustain, but I'm not sure how to set my analog delay carbon copy so it doesn't clash with my BPM per song set DD200. Any thoughts? And then Larry is saying, good question, Josh. I have this question also. That is a good question for sure. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, on Tuesday, we released a new video all about tone. And I kind of talk about how you can do gain staging, having 2 drive pedals. And then also, depending if you put your high gain first or your low gain first. And we also spoke about where the volume pedal can go in the chain. And we also spoke about how the reverbs and the delays kind of work together. Now, what I've got in this sound that I've got, and just listen to my delays, it's way you would think it's way too much, but somehow it works. But in any case, here we go. So it's a stereo delay going on there. So I've got 2 delays. I can tell you my settings, and I did a video on where I break down my tone as well, and I go through all these settings. But my first delay, and I'll play it for you guys so you can hear it. So if I turn the delays off right now, then listen to this. There's just reverb right now. And I can go to my second cam in case that helps. Just reverb. Now my first delay, if I switch that one on, this is set as a dual delay, and that's what you might do with your carbon copy, is set the mix, in this case it's about 42%. So you don't hear it as pronounced. Now I'm just going to do my second delay only, which is also a dual delay. But this mix is set at 66%. So that could be, in your case, your DD200 that's set to the BPM for the song. And then when I play both delays together, I'm going to get this sound. So that's what you might want to try with your delays, is if you're using two delays together, try to not have them both at the same mix level, because then it's going to be like two people talking to you at the same time. It's kind of hard to listen what's going on. Whereas the other one is where the one delay is more supporting, or it's actually more changing your second delay, as opposed to having two delays going at the same time. It's the one delay might be shaping the second delay. So that's something that you might want to experiment with, and just changing up on the delay levels will help a lot with that. And yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we should whip up some pedals, and obviously most of the time we're using either the Kemper Profiler or the Line 6 Helix, but might be a good idea for us to cook up a few tones with just pedals. So be on the lookout for that for sure. And then Cass is saying it's experimenting is never a bad thing. I need to try getting into his agenda for sure. Yeah, it's never easy to get everything dialed in for sure. So keen to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're watching a replay or watching live, let us know what the Fridays are like for you. And then Caster is saying, what exactly does a dual delay mean? Well, let me go ahead and I'll turn off the first delay again. And then I've got my second delay on here. It means the following. So if I'm looking at my delay right now, and I just, I wonder if I won't be able to get my rig manager dialed in right now for this call, for the stream. But I've got two delays. So I've got one that's set at an eighth note, and then another one set at a dotted eighth note. So you know that normally, and maybe I can see if I can change this one. I'll do that in a second. But normally if you have a delay, it's obviously going to repeat your signal. So if I set that to be an eighth note, then my delays are going to repeat at an eighth note subdivision based on my tempo. If I set it as a dotted eighth, it's going to change like that. So you're only going to have one delay happening. But in this case, a dual delay, I've got two delays. Let me set them the same. So they're both going to be dotted eighths delays. So you're not going to hear that ping pong thing. Listen to this. So they both set to the same tempo, so it sounds like you're just hearing one delay. But now I've changed it so that my first delay is an eighth note and my second delay is a dotted eighth. So that sounds like this. Tell me if you can hear those two delays. So it almost sounds like that. But if I put them both to be the same, then it's going to sound like just one delay. But if I do them differently, so it's basically I'm striking the note once, and then I can say my first delay should be eighth notes, or my second delay is going to be dotted eighth notes. And then that interplay creates some really cool sounding things on the guitar there. Awesome. So any other questions, feel free to let us know in the comment section over here. And then I'm happy to answer any of those for you. And then I've got some exciting news to be sharing with you as well as we're getting ready to wrap up for today. Let me just have a quick look at this. Everything is looking good. So Any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comments section right there. And then I'll go ahead and share some great news with you guys as well. So let me just keep an eye on the comment section over here. That's all good. And then Norman is saying he can hear those 2 delays perfectly. That's wonderful. All right. So a lot of you might have come into our world through something called a 7-day challenge, which is something that we've run for years, where we've had 7 days of different lessons, just helping people out with their worship guitar playing, giving them some tracks and resources. And we've gotten so much great feedback as a result of the challenge, because people are able to take 7 days and kind of just really work on their playing and see how they want to go ahead and improve. The great news is that we kind of started that challenge 5 years ago. And since then, we've developed so many new teaching materials, like the 4/2 voicings and our specific way of looking at triads and developing the worship wheel and doing all of these things that we talk about on the shows, and tone, your fretboard knowledge, your chord knowledge, your melody, all those kind of things. And we've done so much new stuff that we decided, listen, we want to put together an updated version of the challenge. And let me just see if I can find that for us to just go ahead and show you guys where you can learn more about this. So we are actually going to be doing an updated version of the challenge. And if you just go to, and I'll put the URL in here for us, Worship Guitar Challenge. I just need to remove that one S over there. Worship Guitar Challenge. Okay, that's not what I want to do. Let's try again. worshipguitarchallenge.com, and just copy that. So then that will be able to take you to our updated challenge, which we're going to be doing live. I'm starting on the 20th. So Vicky is saying, let's just read Vicky's comment here real quick. Vicky is saying, let's put that above the URL. I just finished a 7-day challenge after starting it many times and not being able to complete it. Yes, that's great to hear that you finished it, Vicky. And that's one of the things that we wanted to change is we had this thing where the lessons were only available for 1 day from the time that you click it, because we wanted people to go through it, because I know the best way for you to get results is for you to actually have to go through the lessons. So what we've done now is we've basically put together a brand new challenge of 7 days, and instead of the challenge disappearing after a day, once you start watching the videos, we've gone ahead and put that into our Worship Guitar Skills Academy. So you'll be able to have lifetime access to the challenge, and you get a bunch of cool bonuses as well. So if you go to that URL on the screen right now, and let me pop it for us here in the, there's a different URL. I'll just quickly throw you guys in the chat over here. Then you can go ahead and click on that. The challenge is only $7. So we decided that what's the cheapest we can possibly make it. So it's $7, helps us to cover all of the costs for hosting and streaming and presenting and all of the bonuses. You actually get way more value than just the $7. And if money is an issue for you and you're honestly in a space and a place, no judgment, but you don't have the $7 to invest in the challenge, just email us, support@worshipguitarskills.com, and we're happy to give you free access. But we decided, what's the cheapest that we can make this? $7. You're going to get 7 days of live training with diagrams, resources, backing tracks, PDFs, along with a couple of cool bonuses, which you can learn about all on the page on that URL that I've just put for you in the comment section, or going to worshipguitarchallenge.com. That challenge is going to kick off on the 20th of May. So this first version, we are actually going to do it live. So if you have any questions, much like we are here, but it's going to be presenting the full lesson, and afterwards you'll be able to log into our Worship Guitar Skills Academy, get access to the lessons, get the resources, and really make some massive progress in this challenge. And we've called it the 7-Day Worship Guitar Breakthrough Challenge. The whole goal there is I want to give you guys the ability to really elevate your musicality and reach that next level in your worship guitar skills and really experience a massive breakthrough in just 7 days. And we've got a money back guarantee as well. If you feel that you've joined the challenge, you've gone through the lessons, but you've not quite been able to get the results, then of course we'll happily refund your money there as well. So that's the Worship Guitar Challenge. If you're on our email list, we'll go ahead and make that known next week. There's obviously no lessons available right this second because we're going to be doing it live. So it's kicking off on the 20th of May. But if you want to get a jump start and join, you can just go to worshipguitarchallenge.com and that'll take you to the URL as well. If you can see it in the comment section over here, and we'll go ahead and of course put it in the description as well for those of you catching the replay. All right, so we've got 5 minutes left. I'm happy to answer a few more questions, and so let's go ahead and dive into those. We've got Carter saying, my delay on my Boss Katana is like, you can set the delay time in milliseconds, the feedback, and an effect level. I can set 2 delays at the same time. Do you have an idea how I can make good delays with these stats? Yeah, what I would say is, it's been a while, but if you just Google the milliseconds, like if you want, there is a way, like if you can't tap it or give the tempo in the Boss Katana, and you have to do the milliseconds, you must just see what the tempo is like, and then there's a calculation that you can say, okay, great, if I want the one delay to be at 8th notes, it might be 408 milliseconds, and the other delay to be at dotted 8th notes, it's got to be, I don't know, it's going to be something different, 508 milliseconds or whatever. I don't know the math. I used to have a Marshall JFX about 20 years ago, and it didn't have tap features. You couldn't put in a tempo. You had to physically work out the times for those delays. So that's what I would recommend, Casty. If you've got 2 delays, you want a dotted 8th on your prominent delay, and the second supporting delay, you want an 8th note delay. So you might just have to work that out, what the milliseconds are going to be for that particular tempo that you are playing at. If you do a quick Google search, you'll find that. I haven't had to do it for so long because on my Kemper here, I can just say what the tempo of the song is, or I can tap it in with my pedal, which is what I've done earlier, and then I can just go ahead and choose my subdivision of the delay. All right, so another question coming in here from John, and he's saying, how might we add melody parts with a kind of modern version of old hymns like Amazing Grace? It's just me and electric piano. John, that's a great question, and it's something that I wanted to dive in for the longest time, to do more hymns. So we'll definitely be doing some of that on the guitar and on the channel in the coming weeks and months. But for now, what I might recommend is learning the melody of the song. Because like, even just if you take Agnes Day, maybe that's the closest to like a hymn, for example. Let's go there. So when you can learn to play the melody of these songs, then there are certain sections in the song where you can decide, I'm going to play the melody, and other times you might play the same melody. So just learning the melody in some way, shape, or form will help you a lot to play that. And I'm definitely going to be doing lessons around that. If you take awesome hymns like I Will Exalt Thee and How Great Thou Art and all these kind of things, finding the balance between playing chords and melodies, but not quite playing a chord melody like you would have in jazz. But learning the melody is the first part, because once you can play the melody from start to finish, you can then decide which of those sections would you like to emphasize in your guitar parts? And we've got Josh saying, to add some of his own thoughts, he found that arpeggiating chords via inversions has helped modernize some of those sounds that are otherwise just chords. Yeah, so what Josh is saying is, if you're looking at, let's just say if it's a, and I know most hymns don't quite follow the same structure, but if it's a 1-4-6-5, you can play it here. 4, 6, 5, or you can do it here, 1, 4, 6, 5, or 1, 4, 6. Then you can totally go ahead and do what Josh has said there. Find your inversions and then play arpeggios, which is just a fancy word of saying a broken chord, which is a chord that you pick. So feel free to check that out. We're definitely going to be doing some videos, and I even have some recordings, I believe, of 1 or 2 hymns that has been played in a more modern way on the acoustic guitar, and I'll show you what I might do on the electric to go ahead and check that out. Awesome, and it looks like a couple of folks have already joined the challenge, so welcome to Joe Abrigo. I just got a notification here, so I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys in the challenge. So you can just check that out at worshipguitarchallenge.com, and no worries. Have a great rest of your day. Great to see you. And Josh is saying that sounded exactly like what I play on weekend services. Yeah, the triads are beautiful, and we've got a whole series on triads coming up that we'll be launching very soon on the channel. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after that. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And then Nicholas is asking if you have any gear online for sale. Nicholas, if you are in South Africa, we can help you with some connections, but we don't have any gear that we are selling other than Helix patches, which you can find at shop.worshipguitarskills.com. So we do have some patches for sale for the Helix, and we'll be having the Pod Go and the HX Stomp pretty soon as well. So you'll definitely be able to check some of that out. But unfortunately, no actual gear. Unless you're in South Africa, then please reach out to me, Charl, at worshipguitarskills.com. We've got an arrangement with one of the biggest music stores here in South Africa that we can help you get a great deal for some great gear as well. All right. Time always flies with these live sessions. It means that we are doing stuff that's fun. So I just want to thank you guys for showing up, for your support. For those watching the replay, for those showing up live, for those commenting, for those joining us in the challenge or investing in any of our programs and so forth. It's really an honor and a privilege to walk this journey with you and to help you unlock your voice on the guitar so that you can go ahead and really play an integral role in your worship team and drawing people into that worship experience as we are ministering to the Lord and making His presence our reward. And as a result of that proximity and intimacy with Jesus, we can go ahead and then bless people, and we can advance His kingdom and, of course, follow the Great Commission. So with that, guys, thank you so much for everybody's support. It's really great to see everyone join us, and Vicky's also joining us for the challenge. Really, really awesome. We're going to have an amazing time, and my commitment here is I want this to be the best $7 you've spent in your entire life, and I'm definitely going to keep that end of the bargain. So looking forward to that. We'll be sending out emails all about that, and also reminding you guys next week, and we'll be kicking off the challenge, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday on the 20th of May. Much love, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for all the support, and we shall see you on the next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.